Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Friday, January 11th. Accumulating snow is coming to much of the Mid-Atlantic region for the upcoming weekend, generally in the time period from late Saturday into the day on Sunday. It looks like in terms of snowfall accumulations, the Washington, D.C. metro region could end up in the 3 to 6 inch range, with the higher amounts in that range to the west and south of the district, the lower amounts to the north and east. Philadelphia metro area, maybe 1 to 3 inches, again with the higher amounts in that range on the west and southern side of Philly, to the north and east, the lower amounts. New York City will be on the northern fringes, only expecting maybe a coating to an inch or so up in the New York City metro region. They'll be on the northern fringes of this upcoming weekend snow event. Starting off here with a blank map of the U.S., just to kind of draw the general scenario for the upcoming weekend. First of all, tomorrow morning we'll see low pressure developing over Oklahoma, and this will basically trek to the east during the midday hours towards the Tennessee Valley into the Kentucky, Tennessee region by the middle of the day, later in the day, and eventually it transfers energy and ends up right along the outer banks of North Carolina by the latter part of Sunday. So that is the basic movement of the low pressure system during the upcoming weekend event. Meanwhile, at the same time, strong Arctic high will be just edging slowly south and east into southeastern Canada, and it will supply a very cold and dry air mass to the Mid-Atlantic region for the upcoming weekend event. In fact, it looks like all snow in almost the entire Mid-Atlantic region, except for maybe the coastline, where there'll be a mixture of snow, sleet, and rain at the coast. But anywhere inland, it looks like primarily, if not completely, a snow event, thanks in large part to this very strong Arctic high that will supply very cold and dry air. So dry, in fact, it'll inhibit the snow to advance to the north and east into the New York City metro region, for example. And it may very well delay the onset of the snow reaching the ground in Philadelphia and D.C. The dew points may very well be in the single digits tomorrow afternoon up across southeastern Pennsylvania, for example, even though radar may be looking rather impressive for a while. The snow may just not be able to reach the ground. It'll evaporate, what we call virga, until the lower levels of the atmosphere get saturated. That snow may have trouble reaching the ground. So for a while, it may look like snow. Radar may say it's snowing, but it may hold off during, let's say, the mid-afternoon hours in southeastern Pennsylvania. Same thing could happen down in D.C. for a while. Just won't reach the ground. Then by late in the afternoon, and certainly by tomorrow night, it should be coming down quite nicely in Philly and D.C. New York City's best shot at snow will come tomorrow night as well. In terms of snowfall, we'll see in a moment here that the reason this storm over the weekend does not have a chance to become a historic or a blockbuster type of storm for the I-95 corridor is that the upper level pattern is just not coming together to allow for such a thing. It starts off with a well-defined low, upper level low in this region right here, and that's why Missouri, Illinois could very well end up with the highest accumulation amounts during this entire event. That upper level low then gets strung out as it comes to the east. Snow will break out tomorrow in this region right here, and then just advance through the Ohio Valley and ultimately into the Mid-Atlantic region right here by the latter part of the afternoon. Again, it may have trouble at first reaching the ground in Philly and D.C. because of the excessive dryness of the air mass in place, and again, a very cold air mass as well. So that's the general scenario. Now let's get into the specifics. Well, let's look at the 500 millibar, the upper level pattern for the upcoming weekend. This is using the 6Z run of the FV3 version of the GFS. By the way, this FV3 version will replace the operational version of the GFS in coming months. So we're using this right now. This is the FV3 version from 6Z last night. Starting off today with upper level low area, vorticity out over the southwestern part of the nation. Let's push ahead here in 6-hour increments. By tomorrow morning and early afternoon, a well-defined upper-level feature here over the heartland of the country. That will contribute to very impressive snow across Missouri, Illinois, and into Indiana. But let's move forward here and watch what happens to this upper-level feature here. It basically gets strung out, kind of stretched out from west to east by the time it reaches the northeastern part of the country. That will not only inhibit snowfall accumulations in the Mid-Atlantic region, but it will prevent any kind of a blockbuster type of storm during the upcoming weekend. We just don't have that deep upper level low, a negatively tilted trough. It's rather strung out, and it actually lingers back into the latter part of the weekend, even into the day on Monday. That's why I cannot rule out some snow showers in the Mid-Atlantic region as late as Sunday night or Monday. Here we go, by Monday morning, still some kind of energy sitting over the Mid-Atlantic region. But again, the upper level pattern changes from a well-defined upper level feature on Saturday to kind of a strung out, sheared out upper level system on Sunday. Well, let's go through the surface forecast maps from the 6Z FV3 GFS model run. Low pressure over the southwestern part of the nation. Let's push forward here, and here we go. By later on this evening, some nice snow breaking out across Missouri, and that continues right into the morning hours on Saturday. Again, at this time, very well supportive in the upper part of the atmosphere for this surface low over Oklahoma, and again, very nice snowfall over Missouri, Illinois, heading into Indiana. Then during the day, that snow advances across the Ohio Valley, kind of an overrunning situation setting up for the Mid-Atlantic region with a little bit warmer, more moist air trying to overrun that very cold and dry air at the low levels of the atmosphere, anchored in by that Arctic high up across southeastern Canada. Here we are by early tomorrow night. The snow, again, initially may have trouble reaching the ground in D.C. and Philadelphia, but by the end of the day and certainly tomorrow night, it should be snowing quite nicely across D.C., Philadelphia, and even New York City can get into some snow tomorrow night. A little bit heavier south of the Mason-Dixon line by late tomorrow night and early Sunday morning. Low pressure will kind of transfer its energy from the Tennessee Valley to the Carolina coastline. And the snow will then tend to wind down from northwest to southeast, producing higher snowfall amounts south of the Mason-Dixon line. Again, 3 to 6 inches in D.C., with that 6-inch more likely west and south. Charlottesville to maybe just northwest of Richmond, maybe 6 to 8 or 9 inches possible from this event. And on the other side of the coin, New York City, very little, maybe a coating to an inch or so, 1 to 3 inches or so in Philadelphia. Again, it winds down from northwest to southeast. Most of Philly's snowfall will come Saturday night. Maybe a little bit left over early Sunday morning, but most of Sunday should turn out to be cloudy and cold in the Philadelphia metro region. Probably continuing to snow in the morning hours on Sunday in D.C. Even there, it winds down during the afternoon from northwest to southeast as that low pulls off the Carolina coastline. Again, a little bit of moisture hanging back with that lingering upper level feature. Sunday night, Monday, cannot rule out a snow shower or two in the Mid-Atlantic region as late as into the day on Monday. Longer term, looks like a colder, snowier pattern, certainly setting up for the latter part of January going into February. More on that next week. But for now, an accumulating snow event on the way for the upcoming weekend in much of the Mid-Atlantic region. Stay tuned to PerspectiveWeather.com for updates. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.